Minister of Labour and Employment, Thulas Nxesi, has now changed regulations around who can get relief from the TERS fund for workers who've lost income as a result of the lockdown. The new regulations say that anyone who lost their salary or wages can apply for this relief. Under the previous rules, employers had to apply for UIF relief on behalf of their workers, but there was no legal obligation on them to do so, which meant that some workers could not actually get this relief. The change comes after a group of organisations, including the Casual Workers Advice Office, were applying to go to court on behalf of workers who could not get this relief. Bhavna Ramji is an attorney at that office. Bhavna, good afternoon to you. Why is this change important? What position were some of these workers in before this change, before you threatened to go to court?
I must say I wasn't the attorney on record in the matter. It was an attorney named Kelly Cropman. I was the client. So she threatened to go to court. And the position before that was roughly 25% of the workforce who ought to be receiving UIF were not receiving anything whatsoever. When the social relief grant came into place, even then, many of them were not eligible for even that measly 350 rand because they weren't formally dismissed as that grant required. You had a minimum of 25% of the part-time to full-time workforce in the country earning nothing from the day the lockdown was announced. Nothing.
Okay, so what has now changed? Presumably they will now qualify for this.
Right, that's exactly it. Now, we must clarify, it's not necessarily going to be every single person who had a job who qualifies. It's going to be everyone who would have been eligible for UIF in the past. Now, how UIF works is that an employer attracts an obligation to register a person for UIF if that person works 24 hours or more per week for them. So the trouble is, of course, workers don't have the power to register themselves, and the degrees of non-compliance in this country by employers are so high that many would not have been registered. It's those workers, so approximately 1/3 of domestic workers, the vast majority of women farm workers, and workers in a lot of small to medium-sized businesses who can now qualify.
Okay, so everybody now qualifies. How do they actually apply? If before the employer was going to do it, how do they apply now?
Right. So when the regulations originally came out at the end of March, when the lockdown was announced, it was just employers who could apply. And they could do a handwritten application or the notorious e-filing system. Now, and this has been the case since the 30th of April, though it was only announced in May, workers themselves can apply. And they can apply online or they can apply by contacting one of the call centers and making an application. Of course, this issue, you jumped immediately to implementation, and I think that's correct. This is the next issue. The UIF in the past few weeks has struggled to deal with the increase in its caseload. It never was a well-functioning institution. So there are going to be huge demands on the UIF now, and quite frankly, I don't know how they're going to meet those demands. I'd be really interested to hear from the Commissioner what he has to say.
Do you believe the application process is now going to be fair? Do you believe that people are actually going to get their money? You talk about capacity, we understand that. Is the process, at least, that's been set out fair, or do you think there are actually just going to be huge problems now?
So the CWAO operates a call center, and we've received hundreds of calls in the past few weeks, about an average of 100 per week. And so that's just a small section of what we're dealing with. And what we've experienced is that many workers are not getting paid. So applications that have been made as long ago as the 2nd of April haven't been processed yet. In other cases, workers are receiving far below the minimum of 3,500. And I think, yes, we are going to see a serious shortfall, and the UIF is going to have to explain to us where those are coming from. Are workers being allocated a lower amount based on affordability? Is it an administrative or technological failing that's taking place? Or is it incompetence? But we've definitely seen overpayment and underpayment just for the small samples of work.